A lot of these guys have worked for and with us on and off over the years. Like I said, these guys are building the truck for me, which I'm seeing now for the first time, and it looks good.
A simple garage sale in Utah became a federal case. When Heavy D from the Diesel Brothers decided to sell everything he owned, a judge stepped in and slammed the gates shut. This wasn't about a permit or a neighborhood complaint. This was a court order that stopped a multi-million-dollar empire in its tracks. What was Heavy D trying to sell so fast? And what secret was he hiding that was so explosive it took a federal court to lock it down? The day an empire went up for sale. It all started with an announcement that sent shockwaves through the truck world. Heavy D, the larger-than-life star of Diesel Brothers, posted a video online. The message was simple and stunning. He was selling everything, not just a few old trucks, but the entire contents of his legendary Sparks Motor Shop in Woods Cross, Utah. Unfinished projects, rare parts, heavy equipment, and even his personal vehicles were all up for grabs. The video declared that everything must go because of big changes in the business. For fans, this was the opportunity of a lifetime. The gates opened, and it was like a pilgrimage. People flocked to the shop, hoping to own a piece of the Diesel Brothers' legacy. The yard was a treasure trove of diesel-powered dreams. Massive custom trucks sat next to fleets of military surplus vehicles. Engines, axles, and toolboxes were laid out for anyone with cash to make a deal. It looked like the end of an era, a fire sale for a fallen kingdom. The energy was chaotic, a mix of excitement and confusion. Why would a man at the peak of his fame sell off the very machines that made him a star? As deals were being made and trucks were being loaded onto trailers, the unthinkable happened. The sale was shut down, not by the local police, but by a federal judge. The gates were locked and people were turned away. Some who had already paid for their items had their money refunded and were told to leave. The massive garage sale was over as quickly as it began. The shocking discovery in Heavy D's garage wasn't a hidden truck or a secret stash of cash. It was a legal bombshell. The sale itself was a violation of a court order, an act of desperation by a man cornered by the law. He had been warned not to sell or transfer any of his property, and by hosting this massive public sale, he had walked right into a legal trap. The judge was not happy, and the world was left wondering what could possibly be so serious that it required this level of intervention. A tour of Heavy D's legendary machines. Before we uncover the dark secret that brought a federal judge to his door, let's look at exactly what was at stake. His garage was filled with some of the most famous and powerful custom vehicles ever built. At the heart of his collection was the undisputed king, the Mega Ram Runner. This truck became the mascot for the entire Diesel Brothers show, a 7-ton beast that started its life in the most humble way possible. It was built from the wreckage of a 2012 Dodge Ram 3500 that had been in a serious accident, leaving it with a badly damaged frame. But Heavy D and his team saw potential where others saw junk. They stretched the cab and frame, adding a custom-built third door using parts from 2 other doors and the window of a Dodge Durango. The result was a massive 6-door cab with 3 sunroofs and seating for 6 people. Under the hood, the Mega Ram Runner was all business. It was powered by a Cummins engine tuned to produce a staggering 600 horsepower. That power was sent through a custom-built Ford 4 R100 transmission and an Axletech T600 transfer case originally designed for a semi-truck. But the real secret to its power was underneath. The truck rode on 2 massive Axletech 4000 planetary axles. These weren't parts you could buy at a local auto shop. They were military-grade axles built for MRAP vehicles, the kind designed to withstand roadside bombs in a war zone. Each axle weighed 1,500 pounds and was held in place by a custom 4-link suspension system with heavy-duty FOA shocks. To finish it off, the truck was fitted with 43-inch Goodyear military tires, making it capable of conquering almost any terrain. The Mega Ram Runner was more than a truck. It was a statement of defiance, a symbol of Heavy D's philosophy of building things bigger and stronger than anyone thought possible. But the Mega Ram wasn't the only monster in the garage. Heavy D also brought a childhood fantasy to life with the Tonka T-Rex. This project started with a Ford F-250 Super Duty and was transformed into a life-sized version of the iconic yellow toy truck. The engine was a 6.4-liter Power Stroke diesel, but the experts at Banks Power heavily modified it. It received a Banks Ram Air intake, a Monster exhaust, and a straight-shot water methanol injection system to boost power and keep temperatures down. The truck's most impressive feature was its adjustable Kelderman air suspension. This system gave the T-Rex a massive 8-inch lift over a stock truck, but could be inflated an extra 2 inches for shows, allowing people to see the custom powder-coated suspension parts underneath. It rode on huge 40-inch Toyo tires wrapped around 20-inch American Force wheels. The exterior was a perfect tribute to the toy, with a custom Tonka grille, Fab Fours bumpers, and a signature yellow and black vinyl wrap that made it look like it had just rolled out of a giant toy box. Then there was the Brodozer, a machine so legendary it became the first diesel-powered truck to ever compete in a Monster Jam event. This wasn't just a show truck, it was a 12,000-pound beast built to fly. The heart of the Brodozer was a 6.6-liter Duramax engine, custom-built by Wagler Competition Products. It featured a Callie's Ultra Billet crankshaft, WCP billet rods, and Ross pistons. A massive compound turbo setup using precision turbos helped the engine produce over 1,100 horsepower. All that power was sent through a Cohen Powerglide transmission to an SCS drop-box transfer case. The truck sat on custom 26-inch shocks in the front and 30-inch shocks in the rear, with 2 shocks per wheel. It even had 4-wheel steering, allowing it to tackle any obstacle with ease. The Brodozer was so popular that Diesel Dave himself got behind the wheel to pilot it on the Monster Jam circuit. Heavy D's obsession with toughness led him to a signature technique, using military surplus parts in many of his builds. He believed that these parts were the key to creating truly unstoppable vehicles. His philosophy was simple: why spend $10,000 building up a civilian axle that could still break when you could buy a brand new military axle for $500 that the government paid $50,000 for? He saw it as picking up Uncle Sam's leftovers. This is why his shop was often filled with extreme machines like HEMTT 10x10 military transport trucks and the massive Oshkosh 8x8 recovery vehicle. These weren't just for show, they were built to work in the harshest conditions imaginable. This focus on raw power and military-grade hardware defined his brand, but it was also the very thing that would attract the wrong kind of attention and lead to his downfall. Beyond the monster trucks, Heavy D had a personal passion for two-wheeled machines. His love for vehicles started not with a truck, but with his first motorcycle, a 1976 Yamaha YZ80. As he got older, that passion grew into a love for Harley-Davidson motorcycles. He even had a personal Harley that was custom rebuilt for him by his own team at Sparks Motors, a project that showed a more personal side to his love for all things with an engine. The crew behind the chaos. Heavy D was the face of the operation, but he didn't build his empire alone. The name Diesel Brothers wasn't about family ties. It was about a bond forged in a workshop between a group of friends. The core of the crew was made up of a few key players who each brought something unique to the table. His right-hand man and best friend was David Kiley, known to the world as Diesel Dave. The two Daves met at a church event for young singles, and Heavy D invited him to go out to the lake with some friends. That friendship quickly turned into a business partnership. Diesel Dave was the first person Heavy D ever hired for his construction business back in 2008. While Heavy D was the master mechanic and visionary, Diesel Dave was the promotional genius. With his outgoing personality, he handled much of the social media and was the perfect hype man for their wild creations. He was the one who could sell a truck, make a video, or pull a prank, all with a giant bearded smile. Then there was Keaton Hoskins, better known as The Muscle. Keaton was a true entrepreneur, having started and operated over 22 different companies in his life, from gyms and personal training businesses to even a plastic surgery clinic. He brought a sharp business mind to the crew and a belief that you could be successful in all parts of life, not just with money. He was the one who understood how to build a brand and connect with people on a deeper level, even hosting huge entrepreneurial events with speakers like Gary Vee and David Goggins. Rounding out the main group was Joshua Stewart, or Redbeard. Redbeard was the quiet, spiritual heart of the team. He grew up on a Native American reservation in Utah, which gave him a deep connection to nature and a belief that everything in life happens for you, not to you. He was an introspective guy who brought a sense of calm and focus to the often chaotic shop. Before joining the crew, he served for 15 years in the United States Navy as a lieutenant commander. This diverse group of personalities, the visionary, the promoter, the businessman, and the spiritual warrior, was the secret formula that made the show a massive hit. A mountain of lawsuits. So why would a man at the top of his game sell off his legendary creations? The answer wasn't found in an engine bay or a toolbox. It was found in a stack of court documents that would bring his entire empire to its knees. The massive garage sale was a desperate attempt to deal with a legal storm that had been brewing for years. The main battle was fought against an unexpected enemy, a group of doctors. The Utah Physicians for a Healthy Environment, or UPHE, filed a lawsuit against the Diesel brothers under the Clean Air Act. They weren't fans of the show. They accused Heavy D and his crew of deliberately and systematically destroying the pollution control equipment on their diesel trucks. They argued that the Diesel brothers were turning trucks into disease-generating machines that spewed clouds of black smoke, a practice known as rolling coal. The doctors group stated that diesel exhaust is one of the most toxic types of pollution, and that the company's actions showed a callous disregard for the health of the community. To prove their point, the doctors group bought one of the trucks modified by the Diesel brothers and had it professionally tested. The results were damning. The truck emitted 36 times more pollution and 21 times more particulate matter than a stock truck that had not been tampered with. Armed with this evidence, they took the Diesel brothers to court, and they won. The appeals court that later reviewed the case even noted the flagrant misconduct by the Diesel brothers. The verdict was a crushing blow. A federal judge hit Heavy D and his companies with a fine of more than $850,000. But the financial penalty was only part of the problem. The judge also held Heavy D and the other leaders of the company personally liable, meaning they couldn't just hide behind their business and let it go bankrupt. The money had to come from their own pockets. The worst part of the ruling, however, was the permanent injunction. The judge legally banned the Diesel brothers from ever again removing emission systems, installing defeat devices, or selling parts designed to bypass pollution controls. This was a kill shot to their brand. The very thing that made them famous, building loud, powerful, smoke-belching trucks, was now illegal. Their entire business model was outlawed overnight. Just as they were reeling from this defeat, another legal battle exploded. The famous Italian fashion brand Diesel sued the Diesel Brothers Merchandise Company, Diesel Power Gear, for trademark infringement. The fashion company argued that the name, logos, and marketing were too similar and were causing confusion. Once again, the Diesel brothers went to court, and once again, they lost. The judge found that the infringement was willful and ordered them to pay the fashion brand a staggering $11.8 million in damages. They were caught in a perfect financial storm. One lawsuit made their main business of building trucks illegal, and the other lawsuit took away all the profits they had made from selling t-shirts and hats. They were being squeezed from both sides. Their ability to make money their old way was gone, and the money they had already made was being taken away. This is the dark secret that led to the garage sale. It wasn't a business pivot. It was a desperate, last-ditch effort to raise cash and stay afloat in the face of financial ruin. The man before the monster trucks. Heavy D wasn't born a TV star with a garage full of monster trucks. To understand how he got into a mess this big, you have to go back to the beginning, to a kid from Utah who was taught one thing above all else: how to work. Dave Sparks was born into a military family and learned about hardship at a young age. His father suffered from a brain tumor, a battle he fought for 20 years longer than doctors expected. The family faced incredible challenges. At one point, after his father was medically discharged from the military, they were homeless and lived in a van for 6 weeks. His parents did whatever they could to make ends meet, from delivering pizzas to installing car stereos. Watching his father get knocked down by health problems again and again, only to get right back up, taught Dave a powerful lesson. He developed a mindset that the worst-case scenario really isn't that bad, a belief that would fuel his risk-taking for the rest of his life. His interest in cars and trucks started early. Auto mechanics was one of his favorite subjects in high school, and he went on to study welding and fabrication at Weber State University. But college wasn't for him. He dropped out after just 1 semester, eager to start his own business and build things his own way. Before he became a TV star, another experience shaped the man he would become. As a young man, he served a 2-year mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in South America. This time taught him self-discipline and gave him a deep appreciation for other cultures, especially Latino culture. It also taught him how to talk to people, how to connect with them, and how to sell an idea. These were skills that would be essential in building his massive social media following and his television personality. When he returned home, he started his career by working for his uncle's construction company, operating heavy machinery. He then launched his own excavation business and eventually opened a small used car lot called Diesel Sellers. He hired his best friend, David Kiley, who would become known to the world as Diesel Dave, and the foundation for the Diesel Brothers was laid. They started posting videos of their work on YouTube. They weren't just building trucks, they were having fun, playing pranks, and performing wild stunts. Their energy was contagious, and people started to watch. Soon, one of their videos went viral and caught the eye of one of the biggest car guys in the world, Jay Leno. Leno featured their video on The Tonight Show, and almost overnight, they were famous. That appearance led to a phone call from the Discovery Channel, and the show Diesel Brothers was born. His tough upbringing gave him the grit to succeed, but that same defiant, never-quit attitude may have also made him believe he was untouchable, leading him to ignore legal warnings and even a judge's direct order. Life after the fall and a shocking new direction. With his diesel empire in ruins and the law watching his every move, many thought Heavy D was finished. The garage sale looked like the final chapter, but what he did next was something no one saw coming. The man whose entire brand was built on the power of diesel fuel made a shocking pivot to the exact opposite: electricity. Before his legal troubles reached their peak, Heavy D had been hired by a controversial company called Nikola Motors. His job was to help design their futuristic electric and hydrogen fuel cell pickup truck, the Nikola Badger. The project was surrounded by hype, but it eventually fell apart, and Nikola canceled the Badger in 2020. Most people would have walked away, but Heavy D saw an opportunity. In a move that stunned the automotive world, he purchased all the rights to the failed Nikola Badger project in February 2024. He announced plans to launch the Badger FCEV along with a line of electric UTVs and personal watercraft under a brand new company called EMBR Motors. The king of diesel was betting his entire future on a zero-emissions world. It was a move born out of necessity. With his old business model made illegal by the courts, he was forced to embrace the very technology that stood against everything his original brand represented. This new direction hasn't kept him out of the spotlight or away from controversy. He faced a huge backlash from car enthusiasts after a video showed his crew crushing dozens of classic Datsun and Nissan Z cars for a YouTube stunt. He later apologized, explaining the cars were beyond saving and had been wrecked or stolen, but the damage to his reputation was done. At the same time, there is another side to Heavy D that many people don't see. He is a husband and a father to 3 children. He met his wife, Kristen, at church in 2009 and married her a year later. She has been a huge source of support for him, and they work together on many business and charitable projects. He is known for his incredible generosity and charitable work. When Hurricane Harvey devastated Houston, he and his team were among the first to respond, flying his personal helicopter on rescue missions and sending 6 semi-trucks loaded with supplies to the area. He does an annual toy drive for families in need and has used his resources to help people in all sorts of trouble, from searching for missing persons to helping a family whose truck broke down. This is the complicated picture of Dave Sparks, a man capable of both flagrant misconduct and incredible kindness. The massive garage sale was never just about selling off old trucks. It was the public auction of a controversial legacy. The shocking thing they found in Heavy D's garage wasn't a hidden vehicle, but the crushing weight of the law that forced the king of diesel to give up his throne. He is now on a new path, betting everything on the one thing he never saw coming, the electric future that once seemed like his greatest enemy.